What's good, everyone? This is Dev the Coolest.
And this is Ray Bay.
And this is JB.
And welcome to SlickTalk. Hey, with a hashtag. It's lit.
Hashtag SlickTalk.
Yeah, hashtag SlickTalk. Maybe we should change our intro to and welcome to hashtag. No, that's too much.
That's too much.
That's too much.
The C, the
Yeah, I almost forgot how to spell it. Ooh, I like it.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, that's a new intro.
You know what that is?
No, go ahead.
You know what that is?
What?
It's 112.
Really? Oh, I should
Yeah.
know this.
Yeah.
That was like the first album I ever bought.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Come on, then.
Come on.
First album. So what we talking about today, guys?
Right. Well, thank y'all for tuning in. Before we start, thank y'all for
Thank
tuning
you.
in and
Consistently,
consistently tuning in and your feedback and everything like that.
We see the streams.
Yes.
So
Oh,
y'all
yes.
saying
They're
y'all
growing.
listening. We see them.
Right, we see him. We gonna post it one day, so y'all don't think we just saying stuff just to be saying it. What we talking about today?
So basically, what we're talking about today is like dating familiarity.
Yeah, dating what you're familiar with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
So basically, what that means, what I take from that is dating people inside of like whatever whatever preference you have, whatever sexual preference you have, but consistently dating people that show the same attributes as the people that you've already been dating.
Right. It's not recycling people.
It's not recycling people. But for example, what would be an example, Ray? Give me an example.
So if you date someone with a specific trait, like if they're very passive and they don't communicate, and then you decide, I'm out of that relationship, and then the next person you date have the same traits and you have the same issues.
Exactly.
Because it's something that you're familiar
Exactly.
Very true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my question with that, Devery, I'll let you go in, but my question would be, what is I'm happy that we open and honest at this, at this table.
Right.
But
right.
what would be something that's familiar that you see,
Okay.
like that's
that I latch onto?
that you latch onto in the people that you date?
Yes, this is gonna be an honesty moment here.
Listen, that's why I said that, and it's gonna be interesting because me and Ray Bay know you,
right?
So we know what you as the people.
You know what? I latch on, or not. What I find myself attracting are people that are emotionally draining. Like because I'm such a giver, like, and I love, like, who I love. It's like, I love you, and I'm giving, and they are like sponges, or what's those leeches? Like they're emotional leeches, and they just like suck the emotion out of me.
Vampires.
Exactly, and they end up being better off while I'm just in the room like, whoo, child, I'm just exhausted, and I just gave all my. So I find myself doing it, and I don't know why, and that's me. That's who I seem to attract.
So can you give a past kind of example of like a situation where not necessarily a specific person in your past, somebody that you dated or somebody that you entertained, like give an example?
Yeah.
Like
So my the last serious thing that I was in, I was with someone that was always working, but would always want me to be available for them when they needed me, but I was always like, when I needed him, he was never there because he was always quote unquote working. I don't know what he was doing, found out he was cheating. That's neither here nor there. But I was just always like so drained because I would drop everything just drop it just to see him or do whatever he needed. And he would do little things. I'm not going to say it was he completely like took advantage of it, but in my humble opinion, I feel like it wasn't reciprocated the way that I was giving. And that it obviously it ended, but yeah.
What about you, Ray?
What do I attract? I attract usually. Man.
Or not necessarily something that you attract. What's something
that you find yourself?
Okay, what do I find myself in patterns of dating?
Yeah.
Men that can't communicate and can't be vulnerable.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
Why do you think you like latched to that?
I think it's because that's the relationship I've seen growing up. That was the relationship between my parents. Because by the time I was growing up, my parents stopped showing affection to each other. They stopped even communicating about things that are like deep.
Right.
And it was just kind of like a commitment, and they spent time around each other. But I remember times where my dad was gone, my mom was home, and then when he's there, she's annoyed. She don't really want to be around him. So at that time, I didn't know what was going on, but there was, infidelity. There was a lot. But growing up, my mom gave me this image of my father and put him on a pedestal for me. And so I tend to go after men because that's my image of men now. Like, it's not, and I struggle with it. I'm like, I feel like I should be getting more. Yeah. No, I go after because I'm like, that was what I have. Yeah.
What about you?
For me, it's not necessarily, not to say that y'all, the things that you guys run to when it comes to familiarity is negative, but for me specifically, I wouldn't call it a negative. I feel like something that I always entertain, or the situation that I always get in with the people that I date, is that they end up being very introverted. Right? So I've noticed a pattern of everybody that I date is the complete opposite of me when it comes to I'm an extrovert. I love being out. I love going. I love being the life of the party, traveling, everything like that. Everybody I end up entertaining is usually introverted and kind of chill and like, I don't want to go to the club. I don't want to go to the bar. I just want to chill, watch a movie. And I, to be honest, I'm attracted to that. That's something that I look for in a person, somebody that balances me. Like I want to be able to chill when it's necessary, and I want to bring them out of the house as well. So that's what I see, and I like I said, I look for that in a person, and I think that has a lot to do with personally my mom. My mom and my grandmother are two of the biggest people that I respect in my life, and I see how they've lived their lives. And just me growing up, I've always seen my mom and my grandma just chill. They never was going out to like parties and turning up throughout my life, or being in the life of a party, or just coming or traveling far away or anything. They were always kind of just like at home, like watching TV, chilling. And although to me, I was looking at that like that's boring. Now it's something that I try to latch on to because I'm like, that balances me, right? Because I need somebody to pull my ass in the house and say, sit your ass down because you're doing too much.
It's been some weeks.
Exactly. That's what my mom and my grandma used to do. Like, Justin, you're doing too much. Even to this today, I'm 32 years old. They telling me, you going again?
I hear your mom all
Didn't you just get back? Didn't you just get back?
Again. So just drop off Destiny.
Exactly. Right. Hey, give me a pack of cigarettes. No, but so I think that's why I usually latch on to that, and it brings me comfort.
Okay.
I think Ray brought up a good point of like, and what you kind of just expounded upon as well. It's like, that's what we saw growing up, and I think that's what we're just used to. That's what love looks like to us. Like I saw my mom always just like giving, and that formed my outlook on how I'm supposed to love a partner. And so that's something that and it's not like I look for it. That's just what ends up happening. Obviously we don't look for these types of, the introvert thing, you probably kind of.
And that's very true for me too. I think that's something I do too. I give a lot, and when I don't get what I'm giving, I feel drained and I just check out. And that's something I saw also happening. But I say positive things I look for in a partner. Like I like people that are very authentic and very unique. I like people that are like, hey, they're very versatile with their personality. Like they could be, hood one day and then they're like a complete nerd in some ways. But I also look for people that are driven. My dad was very driven. He's the kind of guy that had several businesses going on. And he's always got something crazy because he never relied on having a job. He wanted to own his own. So I look for people that go for that. But now I'm more focused on me going for that.
So, in addition to what you're saying, to piggyback off of that, it's crazy because the thing that I was just touching on always end up dating people that are introverted is not even necessarily something that I look for. It's just something that happens, and that's what I mean. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted was really trying to discuss on this conversation. It's not necessarily something that we look for in a person. I totally get what you're saying. We obviously look for certain aspects about a person that we're dating, but just certain things that we end up relationship that just ends up being with this person, of how they are as a person, you know, which leads me to my next question is, so basically preference versus definite. Mm-hmm. So is there something that you prefer in a partner, or something that you won't necessarily
that's not the end all for
the end all? Is there something that you prefer in a partner that you're looking for in every partner moving forward, like throughout, not even necessarily right now, let's just say in the past experience that you had, is there a preference that you've had throughout those? And if you want me to elaborate, I mean, is there, like, did the person have to be black? Do you have to be masculine?
Or is that a preference?
Or is that a preference? Is that a definite for you, or is that a preference?
No, it's not. Actually, a lot of people ask me what my type is. I'm like, I don't know. I'm confused because it varies. I've dated men that were taller than me, but it's not like I wasn't. Actually, I've dated a guy that was shorter than me too. I've dated men that are like, hey, I'm a total top, and I've dated guys that are like, I'm a total bottom. So for me, it's like, it's all about energy, but there are certain things I need. I need confidence. I need somebody that is very secure with themselves, because
those are definite.
That is a definite. And it's not like it's always turned out that way. I've dated people where I thought that I had it before, and then it ended up happening that they were not, you know, and what ends up happening is that I can make people insecure. I didn't realize that, but I'm very much like my mom. We have big personalities without even speaking. People always tell me, I think you're stuck up, and I'm like,
you don't even know
I
me.
didn't say a word to you, but hello to you.
But all right.
You know? But we just very much give that vibe. Like, we have strong personalities, and we can intimidate people. So I need you to be confident in who you are, because this is not going to work.
Absolutely.
So my definitive, like, things, they're gonna come across as shallow. I'm gonna give that a quick little real quick, that little preface. But or I'll start with preferences. I would prefer you to be black. You know, that's not the end all, but I would prefer a black.
Can you elaborate them? Like, why? No, I'm serious, because like we're gonna eventually have a conversation when we bring somebody on just to sidebar, I'm sorry, but we're going to bring a black man on to expand upon why he has a preference, quote unquote, towards people outside of his race. So for you, for
me, I need someone that can relate to me on at least being black.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, I don't want to have to always explain to my partner why certain things affect me the way that they do.
Preach.
Or like microaggressions that, if you're not black, you don't realize it's a microaggression, and then that can like put a hindrance in our relationship. I just don't want. That's why it's my preference. It's not an end all, because it's like, well, if we vibe and our spirits align, then you know we can definitely have those conversations. But I would prefer not to have them. So that's just why I would prefer a black person. Yeah.
And then what will be another one?
Another preference. Okay, well, masculine. That is definitely a preference.
And that's not definite.
So that's the thing. Masculinity is a spectrum. So I can go up to a certain point. You have to be me up. If that makes sense. You have to be my level of masculinity or more.
So you have to be a cis up.
Shut the fuck up. I cannot. Not a cis. Like, that's a wide spectrum.
We're gonna have to save that one.
Right, you're a cis up.
You have to be a cis
No,
up.
well, I mean, obviously in certain settings I'm a little bit more flamboyant than other settings. But I think my natural I know. I feel like my natural who I am just by myself. That comes across like, that sounds like I'm fake in certain situations, but I'm not fake. I just, like, certain situations call for me to be a little bit more flamboyant, or a little bit more animated. No, but masculine, that's definitely a preference of mine.
It's definitely
a preference. Yes. Okay. Now definitive. Now this is going to sound shallow. I have to be physically attracted to you. And I know, like, that, like, oh, this sounds so bad.
Just
but if
real.
God don't like ugly, why do I have to? But I just...
God doesn't like ugly personalities. That's all.
Well, you know what? I mean, my thing is, it's like, I take care of myself. Like, I go to the gym. Like, I have a certain, like, thing. I keep up with myself. And if I can't be physically attracted to you, I can't have sex with you. And so it's like, why... You know what I'm saying? Like, and sex is important to me. Y'all know that. Listen.
Oh, we know.
So, and the viewers, listeners know too at this point. But yeah, I just have to be physically attracted to you. Definitive. You have to Ray Bay's point, you have to know yourself. You have to have confidence and you have to know yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, know who you are and don't be so stuck in who you are either. Like, look into wanting to grow and learn more about yourself. That's a definitive trait for me as well.
You know, I would completely agree with you on so many points. I'm thinking about other preferences that I have. Black, yes, definitely one, because don't have time. Like, we're so behind on learning blackness and so behind on like learning our history. I don't want to spend another part of my life trying to figure out somebody else's.
And having to explain.
If that makes, it might sound bad. Like, I don't want to learn. I've learned so much.
But you don't want to go home and have to deal with that too. You know, like, you have to deal with it at work, on the bus, you know, on the train.
Just walking down the street.
Exactly. You don't want to, your home is where you want to be.
And I want to be comfortable. I also don't like explaining myself. So for me to come home and explain to someone
come on, Aquarius,
how this was relating to my blackness, that's going to really, like, I don't even want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. However, I'm not opposed to dating outside my race. I think that's something I've decided recently because... Look, I said, if this did not work out with another black man, I'm expanding the field, and I'm doing that now.
I mean, also, the pickings are slim in the Bay Area for black men, so that's another...
They are not here no more.
That's why y'all just need to move to Africa.
Not Africa.
Listen, there's other things you got to deal with over there.
Wait a minute. I think you was about to say L.A. or... I'm not moving to Atlanta, but...
L.A.?
Like, no, that's what I thought he was going to say, but he said Africa. Atlanta. But anyway, what about you? Preference, JB, preference, definitive?
Crazy enough, definitive things for me are, unfortunately, I mean, you have to be black. Not even unfortunately, you have to be black. Yeah. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm gonna hurt. Like, I literally gonna hurt some people's feelings. But
no, you're not. This is. I mean, everybody has their.
Well, some people trying to get at you that know not.
I'm not gonna say.
What if they're Afro Latino?
That's black.
Right.
Even though they don't recognize it. Know yourself.
Right. You wouldn't be able to do that?
I'm getting to be okay, so I can't do
what?
Nah, he's speaking in tongues.
No, because it got me off guard. No, definitely what I will say is a definite for me is a black man. Okay. And when I mean black man, I mean black in his entirety. Yeah. And I mean whoever wants to feel a certain type of way about that, they can. But I mean, just me, when I look at just the qualities of a black man and what they stand for, and like I've said on the previous episode, we get as a black man, even black women as well, we get so much flack, and a lot of black men are incarcerated, or we really get a bad rap. Right. As someone said before, like, the black man is going extinct, like Jurassic Park about to come back before the black man gets to do anything.
Not Jurassic Park.
Damn. Yeah. The black man is really getting taken out, but so. I just really, I admire, first, I mean, obviously the black woman, I admire the black woman first, but like a black man, I just admire how much adversity we go through, and I just want to see that in the person that I love and look into their eyes and say, you've literally been through this struggle, and you've come out on top, and we can relate on that, and and I just love you for who you are, blah, blah, blah. So that's a definite for me. Preference is position. I mean,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I definitely don't really, have. I mean, that's the price. Nothing is definite for me. I can bend and
bend and stick, poke,
and it's just open. Very, very fluid.
That's just a preference.
That's just a preference. And then what else would be? And then also just again to Ray Bay's point, just knowing yourself as well. That's also it's not for me. That is actually not a definite. I am willing. That's a preference for me. I'm willing to work with someone because I understand that we are all learning and we are all growing daily. So if I meet you, and what I will say is that my ex from a while ago, he met me when I was learning and growing. Like, he literally met me when I was at like a lowest point in my life and lifted me up and taught me a lot, and I still, like, to this day appreciate that. So it would be silly for me to say that that's a definite, that I would definitely need to find somebody or, you know, look for somebody that is already knowing himself and already is, you know, where he wants to be in life.
Right.
I understand. I'm willing to work with you, and I'm willing to, just as long as I see you making the effort.
Exactly, and that's the key right there. As long because people can be complacent in their lowness, you know. So it's like if you're like working toward getting better, then okay, sure.
I felt that
nobody. I mean, we're always working,
right?
We're not. We're always working. Even
and that's the beauty of life.
I have it all figured out.
That's the beauty of life is that we're constantly learning, we're constantly growing and evolving. I do have a cool question. I know this is your moderating, but
no, it's fine.
Do we think that our preferences, knowing what our preferences and our definitive things are, do we think that plays a role in the reason why we latch on to these specific traits in each person that we meet, or that we attract somebody like that? Do we see like they're synonymous with each other, or?
I mean, I see why I latched on to that is because, like my therapist said, I'm trying to fix a relationship with my father with other people.
Right.
You know? Basically, it's like, okay, let me just go fix that shit with my father. Let's call him up and like get to know each other, because the truth is, my father and I, we never really had like a, like, I mean, it's to the point where we couldn't even talk to each other on the phone for more than 10 minutes. It's like we check on the regular things. He asked me, "Are you eating? Do you need money?" I was like, "No, Dad, I have a job. I pay bills. I'm good. Yes, I do feed myself." And we talk about the weather. How is it over there? Okay, it's crazy in Haiti right now. You know, like things like that. But we don't talk about, like, I think there's like a cultural barrier, like asking your father about shit that happened in their life, like when they were the relationship with your mom and stuff like that. And I'm just gonna have to push past it. And I have to thank my ex for this, is because he put in my head like, yo, he didn't have the tools when, you know, he was younger. Like, he's doing the best with what he knows. So you might have to teach him how to love you. Yeah, you're gonna have to teach him how to communicate. And I'm gonna give that to him, because like I always thought like it's his job to reach out to me and like mend our relationship. But this is somebody who literally probably did not see a positive relationship with their family, so they're repeating the same cycle. So the one way to break the cycle is like fix that relationship with them, and I think with being at peace of that with that is gonna help me in the future with my relationships and, you know, other people.
I feel that.
Yeah. So it sounds like from your definitions of what's definite and what's
the
preference, they don't really matter when it comes to what you latch on to. Like, they're not one of the same. I guess because that was the question.
I think my preferences usually end up mimicking something about somebody that's familiar to me, right? That's why we call them familial relationship. It's familiar. Like, the one thing I said when I met some of my exes, like, you feel so familiar to me. And I'm like, oh, that's because...
Exactly.
You represent men in my life.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
So,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, JB?
It's the same. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think the reason why a lot of my preferences or definites are what they are is because of what I've seen in my life. Like I was talking about, my just admiration for the black man is because no matter the friction I've had with my dad, I've always, you know, no matter what it was, I always like admired him,
right?
You know, for the hustle,
right?
You know, there's no hustle like a black man,
right?
You know, we get out there.
That's not lazy.
Everything.
Chad.
That's not lazy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A hustler. You know, so I just seen my dad. No matter what he was doing, I just seen him out there hustling and getting it and keeping his head up high, back straight.
Yes.
You know, and just being, just coming from the bottom and reaching, you know, the pinnacle of what he wanted to do in his life.
Yes.
And, you know, just keeping a smile on his face whenever he could and everything like that. So, of course, that translates to, you know, my definite, because I want to be able to, like I said previously, I want to be able to wake up in the morning and look at, you know, essentially not my dad, but a man that was shows the characteristics and qualities that my dad had before.
Right.
So and then with my preference, as far as like sexuality, I mean, I've always been. I guess that goes hand in hand of how I was raised and what I've seen, in my life growing up and everything like that. Is So that's what it is. What about yourself?
Yes. they definitely play hand in hand. I think my preferences evolve with how I continue to grow and recognize that I am putting myself in toxic cycles. So my preferences and what's definitive, it's always going to evolve as I evolve. Because years ago, I would say, let's say one thing that wouldn't be a red flag is somebody that's, or I wouldn't, that I would be okay with is like someone being like distant and dismissive. But I recognize that I need more than that. And that is okay. And there's someone that's going to give that to me. So as we continue to grow, that's always going to change. And
listen, it's not going to change for me. There are obviously there's some core things. There's some core things that are not going to that I don't see changing, but I totally get that and everything like that.
One thing I would say that I know now that I need, like as a way to like break the cycle, is recognize what I go for and is what I need actually. I know that I value communication. I know that I value adventure. I also know that I value quality time.
Right.
So if somebody's not giving me that, I also have to know that you can just move on. Yeah. Everybody's on their journey.
On their own journey.
You don't have to stay until they, you don't have to stay because they didn't do something like completely horrible.
Yeah. Right.
For me, it's like I feel like giving up on a relationship has to be for a specific reason. Like, they have to cheat, or they have to be a liar, or they have to be physically abusive,
or they're not growing, or they're not trying to change. That's another reason I think to leave someone too.
We don't realize that those are very big. Like for me, it's like I'm gonna keep feeding this energy until I get one of those major terrible things.
Right.
But the fact that I'm feeling unhappy and I'm feeling neglected and I'm feeling like we don't communicate, it's enough to say, you know what, we got personal work to do. And let's do that. That way, at least I can give maybe us a chance in the future, and not feel resentful. Because once you just stay in that, you become resentful. It's like that image is just
What about my last question to you, Dev, or to both of you guys, is what about monogamy? Is that like a preference or a definite?
Oh, we definitely didn't say anything about that. That's interesting. None of us said that.
It's 2019.
No, you know what? Like, open relationships have just become such a thing nowadays. Interestingly, for me, monogamy is important, and I want a monogamous partner. Like I've said in a previous episode, sexually we need to be able to explore with each other. I think different. We can do things. And there's obviously a counter argument. Someone can be like, "Oh, well, that opens doors to everything else." Because I was just talking to someone else about this recently.
Well, that was my.
Oh yeah, you definitely but I was just you definitely did say that. But no, I was just having this conversation with someone else, and they were saying, "Well, that opens the door to other possibilities." And I'm like, "Well, if that's your relationship, I would expect for my partner we have enough trust in order to be able to make that work, right?" But anyway, monogamy is very important to me. We are not doing our own solo or bringing the other people in emotionally into our that's a definite for sure.
And what about
I think I have to clear up also what monogamy means, because I think people get confused. Like, if you bring somebody else into your sexual relationship and not emotional, they still don't consider that monogamy. But for me, I would say that yes, I want a monogamous relationship, meaning that we can play together with other people, but you are my partner.
Exactly.
Emotionally available to me.
We're using this prop, and when they go, they go.
And it's just saying, like, I think that communication is very important to do that, and you have to have that you have to have that before you would start doing things like that.
Right.
You have to have that connection with each other. And
yeah, that's important. Otherwise, you just give yourself liberty to kind of like do whatever.
Right.
Or your partner liberty to do whatever.
Like, for me, it's not, none of that is necessary per se, unless, you know, if you are versed and you're not getting both needs from your partner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So therefore, okay, it's okay for somebody else to fulfill that need for you.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. However, it comes down to both you and him, or you and her.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's literally, I mean, for all of us, and I'll say this last thing, but for all of us, it's kind of going to be like an agree to disagree with y'all, because my idea for monogamy
right, exactly.
is like totally different. That's a definite for me, and monogamy for me is not bringing anybody in. It's just it's strictly one-on-one for us for the rest of our life, blah, 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 no matter how hard it is.
Right.
I said that I'll entertain it, but it's a lot to entertain.
Right. And then I also want to make one like quick point, so we got to go, is that I'm not bringing people into my bedroom every week. This is like a once a year, maybe twice a year type of thing.
But what if
too.
your partner wants to bring in one every week?
That's something that
Something that you
that's
have to
another.
discuss.
Oh, we got to go. But that's another. I always ask people that I'm dating, what does a relationship look like to you in its full form? So if they say that they want to bring somebody in almost every week, then I know that person won't be for me.
But is the person really going to say that?
Well, I mean, I always set it up where it's just like, because I put myself up straightforward, like this is what I see as a relationship, right? And I would hope that with me being as open as I am, they would be comfortable enough to be open back.
Yeah.
But that was
definitely touch on this topic.
I mean,
we can talk more.
Definitely choose juicy.
Right, we gotta go because the studio time is up. Okay. But
we'll be back.
We'll talk more about this in another episode. JB, that was a great topic.
It was, wasn't it?
It really was.
So yeah, break your toxic, cycles or whatever. Love yourself. More and more every day.
Go see a therapist.
Go see a therapist.
They know how to help you.
Right.
Like
comment and
mental
everything.
matters.
Comment, subscribe,
Like,
tell your friend,
share.
tell your mama, tell your kids, tell your auntie, your daddy, your uncles, everybody about Slick Talk. And
our birthdays are within all these months. My birthday was
I know.
January. My birthday was in January. Grace was in February.
And
so was
mine.
Devery's. One thing you can do for our birthdays is share, tell a friend.
it's all
something
free.
like that.
Let them know it's free too, because people
Yeah,
for some
it's
reason
all
think you
free.
got to pay for this.
Exactly.
But thank y'all so much for listening to Slick Talk,
Thank
and
you
we will
so
see y'all
much.
very, very, very soon.
Yes.
We love
Cheers.
y'all. Bye.
Bye.